You ever notice how people don't appreciate what's always there? They don't value what's easy to access. The water from the faucet, they don't think twice about it, but take that water away, turn the faucet off for a day, for a week, and suddenly that same water they ignored becomes priceless. That's how people treat you when you're always available, when you show up every time they call, when you bend over backward to be there no matter what. They stop seeing your work. They start treating you like background noise. See, people don't miss what they think will always be there. They take advantage of what they assume will never leave. That's why you got to learn the power of stepping back, the power of absence. Because when you're always present, when you're always reachable, when you're always saying yes, people stop recognizing what you bring to the table. They start assuming you owe them that presence. But the moment you remove access, the moment you stop showing up like clockwork, that's when they start filling the void. That's when they realize you weren't just there, you were adding value. You weren't just another person in their life, you were an asset. The problem is too many of you are afraid to step back. You're afraid to create space because you think if you leave, they'll replace you. And that fear keeps you running after people who don't even respect your presence. Listen to me. If someone can replace you just because you took a step back, they never valued you in the first place. And that means you were giving your time, your energy, your presence to the wrong people. But when you're truly valuable, when you're bringing something real to the table, your absence doesn't go unnoticed. You ever had someone disappear from your life for a while and suddenly you realize how much they meant to you? Maybe it was a mentor, a friend, someone who always had your back. You didn't realize how much wisdom they poured into you, how much strength they gave you until they weren't around anymore. That's what happens when you carry real value. People feel it when you're gone. But here's the key. You got to make sure you're building that kind of presence. See, stepping away means nothing if you were never bringing anything worthwhile to the table. If you were just taking up space, if you were just there without adding anything to the equation, people aren't going to miss you when you're gone. That's why you got to invest in yourself. You got to develop yourself. You got to make sure that when you walk away, they feel the loss. Not just because you left, but because you left a gap that nobody else can fill. Some of y'all, you're too available. You respond to every message the second it's sent. You say yes to everything, even when you're exhausted. You let people treat you like an option, but you keep treating them like a priority. And you wonder why they don't respect you, why they don't appreciate you. It's because they expect you to be there. They assume you're always going to show up no matter how they treat you. But let me tell you something. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. And if you keep giving your presence away for free, they'll never see the value in it. Think about the rarest things in life, diamonds, gold. The most valuable things on this planet aren't just sitting out in the open for anyone to grab. They're hidden, they're exclusive, they require effort to obtain. And that effort, that struggle, that's what makes them valuable. So why are you out here making yourself common? Why are you out here handing out your time, your energy, your presence like it's unlimited? You got to start moving differently. You got to start treating yourself like you matter. Because when you do, something powerful happens. When you stop being so available, when you start saying yes to everything, when you start pulling back, the right people will notice. The ones who actually see your value, they'll start making an effort. They'll start reaching out. They'll start doing what it takes to keep you around. And the ones who don't, let them go. Let them feel your absence. Let them realize that you were never just another person in their life. You were a force. So stop giving away what should be earned. Stop making your presence cheap. If you want to be valued, sometimes you got to step back and let them feel what life is like without you. And when they realize what they lost, it won't be because you told them. It'll be because they felt it. You keep chasing, and that's the problem. You keep running after people, after opportunities, after validation, like your worth is something that needs to be proven, like you need permission to be great. Let me tell you something. When you chase, you devalue yourself. When you run after people who don't see your worth, you're telling them, I'm not valuable enough to be chosen. I need you to pick me. And the second you put yourself in that position, you lose power. You ever see a lion chasing mice? No. A lion doesn't waste time on things that don't feed it. It walks with confidence. It moves with purpose. It doesn't beg to be noticed. And that's exactly how you got to move in your life. Stop begging for people's approval. Stop trying to prove to them why they should choose you. If they don't see your value, they're not your people. If that opportunity doesn't recognize what you bring to the table, it's not your opportunity. And if you got to chase it just to keep it in your life, it was never meant for you in the first place. The real ones, they don't chase, they elevate, they put in the work, they grow, they build. And when you do that, when you focus on becoming the best version of yourself, the right people, the right opportunities, they come to you. They see the value in you because you see it in yourself first. But you got to stop moving like you're desperate. You got to stop acting like you need them more than they need you. Some of y'all, you're working twice as hard to get half the respect. You're out here proving yourself to people who don't even appreciate effort. You're giving 100% to people who wouldn't even notice if you pulled back to 50. And the reason they don't appreciate it because you've trained them not to. You've trained them to believe that no matter how they treat you, no matter how little they give in return, you'll keep showing up. You'll keep chasing. You'll keep lowering yourself just to be seen. Listen to me. When you operate like that, you teach people how to treat you. You show them that your presence is negotiable, that your time is cheap, that your value depends on their recognition of it. But when you shift and when you stop chasing, when you start walking like you know you bring something to the table, everything changes. Because confidence is magnetic. Self-worth, it draws the right things in. When you level up, when you focus on growth, when you become so good that they can't ignore you, suddenly the same people who overlooked you start paying attention. Suddenly the same opportunities that felt out of reach start showing up. But not because you begged for them, not because you lowered yourself to fit into somebody else's vision, but because you became the vision. You ever notice that the best in the game don't ask for respect, they command it? They walk into a room and people recognize them before they even say a word, not because they were chasing attention, but because their presence speaks for itself. That's the kind of energy you need to move with. That's the mindset you need to adopt. You want the world to respect you, stop proving yourself to the wrong people. Stop lowering your standards just to be accepted. Stop thinking you got to run after what's meant to find you. Instead, put your head down and work. Sharpen your skills. Build your mindset. Elevate your circle. Become so good that they have no choice but to notice. And if they don't, that's their loss. At the end of the day, you have two choices. You can chase or you can elevate. You can beg or you can build. You can run after them or you can focus on becoming someone they wish they had stayed close to. But what you can't do is bold. So make a decision, because the moment you stop chasing, that's the moment you start rising. Everybody wants to be valued, but not everybody is willing to do what it takes to become valued. You keep wondering why they don't appreciate you, why they don't respect you, why they don't see your work. But the real question is, have you made yourself irreplaceable? Have you put in the work to be so good, so unique, so necessary that they can't ignore you? See, the world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards results. It rewards excellence. It rewards the ones who bring something to the table that nobody else can. Too many of you are out here complaining about not being recognized, but you haven't mastered anything yet. You're blending in when you should be standing out. You're doing the bare minimum, hoping that'll be enough to get noticed. But listen to me. The people who win in life, they don't just show up. They show up prepared. They show up skilled. They show up with something that makes them undeniable. You ever see what happens when a key player leaves a team? The whole dynamic shifts. They feel that loss immediately because that person wasn't just a part of the system, they were the system. They weren't just showing up, they were producing. They were impacting the game in a way that nobody else could. That's what you need to become in your field, in your relationships, in your life. You need to be the person they can't afford to lose. Not because you begged for their respect, but because you earned it through what you bring to the table. The problem is too many of you are just existing. You're present, but you're not essential. If they can replace you tomorrow and keep moving like nothing happened, then you weren't bringing enough value, and that's not their fault. That's on you. You got to ask yourself, what am I doing right now that makes me different? What am I doing that makes me necessary? What do I have that nobody else can bring the way I bring? Because if you don't have an answer to that, then you already know why they're not valuing you the way you want them to. Look, this isn't about talent. This isn't about luck. This is about commitment. Commitment to being the best. Commitment to developing skills that separate you. Commitment to putting yourself in a position where they have to respect you. Because your absence would be too costly. If you work in a job, be the one who knows the ins and outs of everything so well that if you walked away, the whole system feels it. You're building a brand, create something so unique that people need what you offer. If you're in relationships, be so solid, so dependable, so full of value that the thought of losing you makes people move differently. But you can't fake this. You can't just say you're valuable. You got to become valuable. That means you invest in yourself. That means you sharpen your skills every single day. That means you stop looking for shortcuts and start looking for mastery. Because the truth is, nobody is obligated to value you just because you want them to. The world doesn't work that way. But when you show up with undeniable value, when you make it impossible for them to replace what you bring, that's when you command respect without ever having to ask for it. You got to stop waiting for people to recognize your worth and start making your worth so obvious that recognition is automatic. Stop blending in. Stop being average. Stop hoping they'll appreciate you just because you showed up. Make them feel your impact so deeply that the thought of losing you is something they can't afford. Because when you become irreplaceable, you don't have to chase value. You are the value. There comes a time when you got to stop talking and start walking. You got to stop trying to explain your worth. Stop trying to convince people to respect you. Stop trying to make them see what they refuse to acknowledge. Because if they don't value you now, they won't value you later. If they don't appreciate your presence, then your absence needs to teach them what words never could. Sometimes the most powerful move you can make is to walk away. See, too many of you are staying in places where you're not respected. You're giving your time, your energy, your loyalty to people who don't deserve it. And you think if you just do a little more, give a little more, prove yourself just a little bit harder, maybe they'll see your worth. But let me tell you something. Real respect isn't negotiated. You don't beg for it. You don't fight for a seat at a table where they don't even want you to eat. When you know your value, you demand respect. And if it's not given, you take that value somewhere else. The problem is a lot of you are too scared to walk away because you think leaving means losing. But listen to me. There's no loss in removing yourself from where you're not valued. The real loss is staying in a space that's shrinking you. The real loss is wasting years of your life trying to prove your worth to people who were never meant to see it. And the moment you understand that, the moment you start acting like somebody who knows their worth, everything changes. Think about it. When something is rare, when something is valuable, people protect it, they cherish it, they respect it. But when something is common, when it's easy to get, when it's always available, people take it for granted. And that's exactly how people treat you when you refuse to walk away from situations that don't honor you. They assume you'll always be there so they don't feel the need to appreciate you. They think they can give you the bare minimum and you'll still show up. But the moment you remove yourself, the moment you cut off access, that's when they feel your worth. That's when they realize they had something valuable, but they treated it like it was nothing. You ever notice how people don't recognize what they have until it's gone? You ever see how quick someone starts treating you differently when they realize they can't just call you anytime, can't just use you whenever they want, can't just depend on you without giving anything in return? That's not a coincidence. That's human nature. People don't value what they think they'll never lose. But when you walk away, when you cut off that easy access, when you stop making yourself an option, that's when they start paying attention. But here's the thing. You can't walk away just to prove a point. You can't step back just to see if they'll chase you. You got to do it because you know you deserve better. You got to do it because you refuse to settle for anything less than the respect you've earned. And when you do that, when you finally stop accepting less than what you're worth, you're going to see something powerful happen. The wrong people, they'll disappear. The ones who never truly valued you, they'll let you go without a fight. But the right people, the ones who do see your worth, they'll step up. They'll move differently. They'll treat you the way you should have been treated all along. So stop waiting for them to wake up and realize your value. Stop waiting for them to change. Stop waiting for people to treat you right when they've already shown you they won't. The only way to get the respect you deserve is to demand it. And if they can't give it to you, then the most powerful thing you can do, the smartest thing you can do, is walk away and never look back. You got to stop being so predictable. Stop being so easy to read, so easy to reach, so easy to take advantage of. Some of you, the reason people don't respect you, the reason they don't value you, is because they already know exactly how you're going to move. They know you'll always be there. They know no matter how they treat you, you'll still pick up the phone, still show up, still give your time and energy like they earned it. But listen to me, when people can predict you, they start to control you. And when they can control you, they don't respect you. See, respect is built when people don't know what you're going to do next. Respect is built when people understand that if they don't move right, you might just move on. That if they don't appreciate what you bring to the table, you might just stop bringing it. But when you're always available, when you're always giving without expecting anything back, when you're always bending over backward to keep people happy, they start thinking they own you. They start thinking they can treat you any kind of way and you'll still be there. And that's exactly why they don't value you. The truth is, you got to learn the power of mystery. You got to learn the power of being unpredictable. Because the moment people feel like they know you'll never leave, know you'll never change, know you'll always be there no matter what, they stop working for your presence, they stop trying, they stop appreciating. But when they don't know what you're thinking, when they don't know whether today might be the day you decide you've had enough, that's when they start to take you seriously. That's when they start treating you with the respect you should have been getting all along. Some of you, you've given people too much access to you. They know your every move. They know exactly how far they can push you before you finally say something. They know you'll tolerate being second, third, even last on their list because you've never once shown them that you're willing to walk away. But when you start moving differently, when you stop telling everybody your plans, when you stop being available every time they need you, when you start making them wonder where you are, wonder what you're thinking, wonder if you're still even interested, that's when they wake up. That's when they realize they can't just take you for granted anymore. Because let me tell you something, people respect what they don't fully understand. They respect what they can't control. They respect what they know they might lose if they don't act right. And when you start moving like that, when you start protecting your energy, when you start controlling the access people have to you, you'll see real fast who actually values you and who was just using you because you were easy to access. But listen, this ain't about playing games. This ain't about being fake or manipulative. This is about understanding your worth. This is about knowing that you don't have to prove yourself to anybody who doesn't already see your value. This is about moving in a way that makes people realize you are not to be taken lightly. Because when you stop being predictable, when you start setting boundaries, when you stop being the person that everyone can call on all the time, that's when they start treating you differently. That's when they start missing you. That's when they start realizing they need you more than you ever needed them. So stop explaining yourself. Stop announcing your every move. Stop letting people think they've got you figured out. Move in silence. Let your actions speak. And when they finally notice you're not where they left you, when they finally see you ain't chasing them no more, that's when they'll understand exactly what they lost. You keep making the mistake of thinking that your presence is what makes people value you. You think that if you just keep showing up and you keep giving, if you keep proving yourself, one day they'll wake up and realize what they have. But let me tell you something. People don't value what they always have access to. They don't appreciate what's always in front of them. Sometimes the only way to make them see your worth is to remove yourself. See, you got to understand that space creates value. When something is rare, when something is hard to find, people treasure it. But when it's everywhere, when it's too easy to get, they take it for granted. And that's exactly what's happening to you. You're too available. You're too accessible. You're giving too much of yourself to people who haven't earned that kind of access. And then you wonder why they don't treat you the way you deserve to be treated. The truth is, people need to feel your absence. They need to experience what life is like without you constantly showing up for them. They need to sit with the realization that they took you for granted. But that can't happen if you never pull back. That can't happen if you're always there, always responding, always making it easy for them. Think about it. You ever lose something valuable? A watch, a wallet, your favorite jacket? What happened? The moment it's gone, you realize how much you needed it. You realize how important it was. But when you had it every day, you didn't think twice about it. It was just there. That's exactly how people operate. They don't recognize what they have until it's no longer in reach. Some of you, you've been given too much to people who haven't even earned the right to have you in their life at that level. You're pouring energy into relationships, into friendships, into workplaces where they expect you to be there, but they don't respect you for being there. And the reason they don't respect you is because you haven't given them a reason to miss you. You haven't stepped back long enough for them to feel the difference between having you and not having you. You have to be willing to pull away. You have to be willing to let people wonder where you are, wonder why you're not answering, wonder why you're not showing up the way you used to. And if they don't notice, if they don't care, then you just got your answer. They never valued you to begin with. But the ones who do, the ones who truly see your worth, they'll start moving differently. They'll start treating you with the respect they should have given you from the start, because now they know you're not something to be taken for granted. You're not someone who will just always be there no matter how they treat you. You're someone they have to earn. So stop thinking that being constantly available makes you valuable. It doesn't. It makes you easy to overlook. Let them miss you. Let them feel your absence and watch how quickly they start treating you with the respect you always deserve. There comes a point where you have to stop chasing and start building. You have to stop running after people, stop begging for attention, stop hoping they'll see your worth, and start creating a version of yourself that makes them regret ever overlooking you. See, the problem isn't that they don't see your value. The problem is that you keep looking for validation in the wrong places instead of becoming someone so undeniable that validation is automatic. You spend too much time trying to prove yourself to people who will never appreciate you, and not enough time working on yourself so that their opinion doesn't even matter. You want them to respect you, but you haven't put in the work to become someone worthy of respect. You want them to miss you, but you haven't built yourself into someone worth missing. The truth is, people don't miss average. People don't regret losing what was replaceable. If you want them to feel your absence, if you want them to recognize what they had, then you need to become irreplaceable. You need to elevate to a level where they fill the gap when you're no longer there. Some of you, you're stuck in this cycle of waiting for people to treat you better, waiting for opportunities to come, waiting for someone to recognize your potential, but waiting never changed anybody's life. Work does. The reason they don't miss you is because you're still the same person they left. You're still doing the same things, thinking the same way, moving at the same level. But when you grow, when you level up, when you start building yourself into someone who operates on a different frequency, that's when people start paying attention. Think about it. People always remember the ones who transformed, the ones who disappeared for a while and came back stronger, the ones who walked away and came back as someone they barely recognized because the growth was that real. But you can't fake it. You can't just act like you've changed. You have to become that change. That means discipline. That means sacrifice. That means making decisions that put you on a different path from the one you've been walking. See, too many of you want respect without the responsibility that comes with it. You want people to see you differently, but you keep moving the same way. If you want to shift the way people see you, you have to shift the way you see yourself. You have to start carrying yourself like somebody who demands respect, not with words, not with attitude, but with your actions, with your work ethic, with the way you handle yourself, with the way you refuse to accept anything that isn't in alignment with your growth. And listen, this isn't about proving them wrong. It's not about revenge. It's not about making them regret losing you just so you can rub it in their face. It's about making yourself so valuable, so powerful, so elevated that their regret is just a side effect of your greatness. You're not growing for them. You're growing for you. Because when you operate at a higher level, when you move differently, when you become the best version of yourself, everything around you shifts. The right people will start showing up. The right opportunities will start finding you. And the ones who overlooked you, the ones who didn't value you, they'll have no choice but to recognize what they lost. But by then, you won't even care because you'll be too busy winning. At some point, you got to realize that not everyone deserves access to you. Not everyone should be able to reach you whenever they feel like it. See, too many of you are making yourselves too available to people who don't respect your time, your energy, or your work. You answer every call, respond to every message, show up for people who wouldn't even notice if you disappeared for a week, and then you wonder why they don't value you. Let me tell you why. Because anything that's always available loses its value. Anything that's too easy to get is too easy to take for granted. You ever see how people treat things that are rare, how they protect them, how they cherish them, how they'll do whatever it takes to get them? That's not by accident. It's because they understand that not everything is accessible to everyone. And that's how you got to start treating yourself. You are not for everyone. Not everyone should have the privilege of being in your life. Not everyone should be able to drain your energy. Not everyone should be able to call you up when they need something, but disappear when you need them. You have to start setting boundaries. See, the problem isn't that people don't respect you. The problem is you haven't required them to. You've made it too easy for them. You've trained them to believe that no matter what they do, you'll still be there. That they can ignore you when it's convenient, then pick you up when they need something, and you'll come running. But the moment you stop allowing that, the moment you stop giving them access just because they ask for it, that's when everything changes. That's when they start realizing they can't just take you for granted anymore. Some of you, you're afraid to set boundaries because you think it means losing people, but listen to me. Anybody who leaves because you set a boundary was only there because you didn't have one. Let that sink in. If the only reason they were around was because they could use you, because they could get something from you, because they knew you'd always be there, no matter what, then they were never really for you in the first place. You have to stop operating from a place of fear. Fear of losing people, fear of being alone, fear of what they might think if you start moving differently. Because the truth is, real relationships, real connections, real respect is built on mutual value. It's built on mutual effort. And if someone is only in your life because they can drain you, because they can take from you without giving anything back, then that's not a relationship. That's exploitation. When you start setting boundaries, you start separating the real from the fake. You start seeing who's really in your life because they care about you and who's only around because of what they can get from you. And yeah, some people are going to get mad. Some people are going to fall off. Some people are going to act like you changed. And you did. You changed because you realized you deserve better. You realize that your time, your energy, your presence is valuable, and you're no longer handing it out to people who don't deserve it. But here's the best part. When you start respecting yourself, when you start moving like somebody who knows their worth, the right people start showing up. The right people will respect your time. The right people will appreciate your energy. The right people will meet you at the level you operate on. But you'll never experience that if you keep letting the wrong people drain you. So stop making yourself so accessible. Stop giving your time and energy to people who don't deserve it. Protect your space. Protect your peace. And watch how quickly your life starts to change.